Hey guys, what is up? So I just want to stop by real quick before this podcast starts and say you should like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow me on all my social medias at John D. Klauser. It's literally the same name as the name that's on this YouTube channel when you subscribe. So enjoy this clip, and I'll see you guys on the other side.
She's fine. No, we're not going home. She's fine. You're fine. Look. She's
All right, guys. Hey, what is going on? I kind of came hard right out of the gate there. What's going on, guys? How are you doing? So this is a new episode of my podcast. This is the John podcast show thing, solo stuff that I do. This is actually episode 21. I'm your host, John D. Klauser. I hope you guys are doing swell. Hope you're doing well, being safe and sound and washing your hands, wearing your masks, and there's no sicknesses going on around you. I don't know. What week are we in when it comes to this Corona thing? Like week, 97, something like that. Hope you guys, what's up? What are you doing? What's new? What is new with you? Because it's like the same shit, different toilet, right? Right, guys? Same stuff, different day. It's just one of those things that we're doing. We're just kind of living it day by day. Hopefully we're going to hear something. We don't hear anything. You think you would hear. This is the thing that bothers me. That I just don't understand. Wear a mask. Understandable. Wear a mask. Like it's not helping you, but it's just being cautious for everyone else. It's a nice little courteous thing to do. And then the thing is that you think they would tell us things to help boost our immune system. It's like, nope, don't hear anything about that. So it's like, for me, oh God, I'm taking so many vitamins now. I always have taken a lot of vitamins throughout my life, but now very specifically nowadays, I am taking a crap ton of things. Like, I'm taking fish oil, zinc, D3, 1-a-day vitamin, a fiber thing for my blood sugar. It's a fiber tablet for my blood sugar. It's great. It's a good life. A calcium tablet as well. And, just trying to live my life, trying to be healthy, sit in the sauna for at least 5 out of the 7 days of the week. I'll sit in the sauna for 2 times for about 20 to 25 minutes at 180 degrees, between 180 to 185. It's closer to probably like 182 on the average. And that's what I do to get those heat proteins and heat myself and my immune system up and running. But yeah, and I don't know. It's like you think they would tell us, we're gonna be here or we're not gonna be here. It's like this year's fucked. Like we're over halfway in and we're just like, nope, nothing's gonna happen. And is this it? Is this how it's going to be? Is this how it's going to be? And the thing is, I'm over here trying to stay healthy and try to figure out what my best entanglement's going to be. And I can't do that because, it's like, oh, I have to wear a mask. Oh, am I scared? Do I have to be careful around, these people? Like, oh, I can't be around this thing. Can't do that. It's like, well, that's great. This is nice. And, but we're here. We're welcome. We're alive. We're welcome and we're alive. I don't know if you guys have noticed yet so far, but I don't have much. I don't know what I'm going to talk about tonight. I don't know. This is not the normal night I do my podcast. This is actually Sunday morning now at 1:22 in the morning. And it's not the same the same vibe as I normally get on Sunday going into Monday morning. But the thing is, I only have 1 day off this week because I have a bunch of people at my job that are taking their vacations, so I have to work a little extra time, which is completely fine with me. Get a little extra pay. Gonna probably save it and do something stupid with it. I'm actually gonna. The one thing I am saved up for, and I have a little bit of money set to the side, is the new Madden 21. Don't know why I have Madden 20 right now. completely fine. Great game. Works perfectly. Does everything that I need it to do. But I'm like, you know what? August 21st is going to come around, and I want to get the new Madden. So I have a little bit of money. I've been saving up every paycheck, putting a little bit aside for that bullshit thing that's going to cost me like $64. It's a good time. It's a good time in my life. It's a great time to be alive, guys. But what do I have here? Well, I'm like a couple minutes in. I'm just like, well, I don't know. I have no idea what I want to talk about, guys, this week. So, because my whole chi is completely taken off. So I only have one day off. I have Sunday off from work, and then I have to go back and just work until, I guess, like next Sunday. So, like a straight 7 days, which is just dandy. Something that I want to do in this, what they call a pandemic, or not. It could be complete, utter conspiracy for all we know. And talking about conspiracies, I've actually been watching a lot of not YouTube, but I'm watching a lot of UFO documentaries and a lot of UFO things. And that's always interesting. There's this new one that I found that was Skull Skin Ranch, something like that. And what was so interesting about it was that Skinwalker Ranch. That's what it was. Skinwalker Ranch. Sorry, I was trying to look it up and find it online. See how I was picking it with one little hand. And what was so interesting about this one was the fact that there's like doctors and all these people who worked in the military who had lived on this like big property of land, and over these years that these animals kept dying, and they kept getting killed in a certain way over and over again. There's like this certain cut. It looked like there was only two instruments they used. They used a really sharp syringe, like a really sharp scalpel, and then they used scissors. And the thing is, though, is like it's like really tough. It's cow. It's a cow. So, but it was a certain way every time it got cut, and it was perfect every time. So, and every time that like they set up all these cameras, and every time it turned on, they stopped working, and it's a lot of stuff. And now, guys, I want you to know before I go any further into this whole thing, like, oh my God, is he going to go down to this deep rabbit hole of conspiracy theories with UFOs? I am. But the thing is, like, I find this fun. I don't believe in a lot of it because, don't get me wrong, I would love for like something like this, or Bigfoot, or the Loch Ness monsters. I would love for all this stuff to be real. But the thing is, like, I watch it, I'm like, a lot of this stuff seems bullshit. Then I just move on. I move on with my life. But the thing is, this one was kind of interesting at first, and I was like, oh yeah, and I was listening to this podcast it was a 3-hour podcast, and near the end of it, I was like, well, no, I just believe this is all bullshit too. Like, and like the thing is, like, there's this like filmmaker, because one of the guys was like, he was a investigator, and he worked for like one of the LA reporter. He was a reporter for the KTLA. Yeah, I think that's what KTLA news station. And then he teamed up with this director who normally just made documentaries, but then got super into making UFO stuff. And then you can kind of tell that this guy was heavily into it, to the point where like he was kind of like, fuck all my other films, I only want to do UFO stuff. And I thought it was important for me to watch or listen to this podcast, because it was like, John, this could easily happen to you if you don't stay on the quick and narrow path of a filmmaker, of just being someone who's normal, enjoyed making documentaries. Make a documentary every once in a while, but like stick to your guns and make feature films like you want to do, and just work on that and do that. Because if you get anywhere further into this UFO stuff, like, woof, because it's so interesting, because then they have like this. There's this one where that a couple years ago that the United States government said See, like now, see how crazy I'm about to start sounding. Well, the U.S. government had this report, and the thing is, like, there's only like 3 lines out of all 377 lines that were blacked out. So, like, most of the stuff was having to talking about, how if you are in a flight and you see a UFO, what's the standard protocol that we have to do? They released this information. They had a group of people that were sitting and talking about this as the thing. About like, okay, so if you're flying in a jet as a pilot and you run into this UFO thing, and like a UFO doesn't even have to stand for like something like an alien, or it has to just stand with like a flying object that you don't, an unknown flying object. That's really what it stands. That's literally what it stands for. And this is the protocol that you have to do, and you have to follow it. And then they have these pilots who, and they have videotape it too. If you can go and look online, these pilots who were flying, and it's like a little Tic Tac. It's like the Tic Tac UFO thing, and they have no idea. Like, even the United States government came out and said, "Oh, I sound so fucking crazy," that they don't know what it is or what it was. And there's a lot more information that's starting to come out more now. And then there's a guy who he apparently went to MIT, and then he worked at Los Alamos, and then he was like hired to the U.S. government to back engineer, because apparently that they have spaceships. Apparently this is the thing that they have in. I sound so fucking crazy. They have spaceships in Roswell, New Mexico, at Area 51. That sentence right there. Oh my god. But they do, apparently. Allegedly, I don't know. I have no idea. Allegedly from this like guy, this engineer that worked for Los Alamos and did stuff for the military. And the crazy thing about this guy is that he put a airplane jet engine inside of a Honda, and like he made the Roswell paper because of that. And then the U.S. government like met up with him and then offered him a job. And his job was like, they had like basically like this little it was like a thing that sat inside of the spaceship that apparently like it hovers inside there, and like that's what like starts the whole engine or the whole UFO thing or the whole ship. And his job was to basically take this thing apart and try to like back engineer and try to build it and figure out what it is. And he was talking about how that that everyone was like so segregated, so you'd only be working with like 3 other people, and like you would only talk to those 3 people, and you'd never interact with like another group of 3 other people, and there's another group of 3 other people, and there's another group of 3 other people, and there's another group of 3 other people, but you never interact with them, and you never like cross like ideas of how this is comparing to like what they're doing. How can you like, if you take something from like person 2 from group A, and then you take group 27 and like person A, and like you could do something and like make it work, but they never did anything like that. But it's all interesting. I think it's cool. I think a lot of it's bullshit. It's a lot of like, I like watching a lot of Sasquatch and Bigfoot things, and I think a lot of that's bullshit too. It's just it's a big hoax act, and it's similar to what I think when people like zodiac signs, and they do like they look at like their fortunes and all that stuff. It's like like that stuff's like fun. It's cute, but it's nothing you should really, until I actually see an alien. It's like ghosts. Until I see a ghost, like I'm not gonna. I don't know. It's not that I don't believe in ghosts. I would if I could see one. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Okay, now I saw one. I don't think it'd be cool. I would probably be a little scared, but at least I would know like this shit's real. But I don't know. It's just fun, and I think the idea. I think there is an idea that there's. I don't know if they'd be aliens, but there's probably other life forms. We can't. If we're just one little thing in a galaxy, that there's a bunch of other galaxies with a bunch of little things. Like, there has to be. We have to not be. We're not the only one. And what's so cool, I like the theories of like how there's other dimensions, and within those dimensions, there's other versions of you doing something that's the exact same of what you're doing right now, but just slightly different. Like you could be, instead of a white guy, you're a black guy, or instead of having like four hands, like two hands, like you have four hands. Something like, just weird things like that. Or like you, instead of living in Texas, you are living in Korea. Like it's just things to that extent. And like these are all things that are like way above that I ever went to school for. Like I went to school for fucking film. Like please don't take anything I say seriously at all. Like this UFO hunter stuff, like, but that was interesting. And I would recommend, like, if you're gonna do something, and like if you like UFO stuff, it's a cool, interesting thing. It's called Skinwalker's Ranch. That was the thing that just interesting. A lot of it's bullshit. I find a lot of it bullshit, and they have a couple pictures, but besides the pictures, like, there's nothing else that gives you any evidence that there was actually aliens. Because you don't see any aliens. There's no videotape of aliens. There's no tape of like a spaceship. There's nothing else other than that there's these pictures of, and there's video of them seeing these dead animals, these dead cows. That's it. So, but if you like going down those rabbit holes of like UFO stuff, like it's fun. It's interesting for sure. So I was at work today. I know this is gonna be a great segue. Today's episode is sponsored by Bubbly. If you guys can tell, I'm gonna bumble and fumble through this. If you guys gotten this far, thank you for riding through this. We got about like 12 minutes left, so we're almost done. So if I get once I get this done, then I just have to edit it, and then I'll be good. I'll just move on with my life. I'll just move on with my day. Again, like I said, this chi whole thing is really effed me up this week. So anyway, guys, I was at work. So I don't work my normal job. I have like this little BS job right now because of the whole COVID stuff. And I was eating my lunch and saw a bunch of people playing bridge. Or not bridge, but they were playing bingo. And they were just sitting there, and it was so funny because there's a lot of yelling. I heard a lot of yelling. And there was a lot of just being like, B37, B37. And then they would they would take the little open a little door, like they'd grab another ball, and they would like name another thing off, like D18, D18. And they just did that, and I was watching them do this, and it reminded me of something back when I was a little kid. So I was 13 years old, and I had a huge, important religious celebration that was going on when you're 13 years old, called your bar mitzvah. And I remember we would pick up my grandmother, and we'd go to the synagogue, and we would, go to service and do our thing. And then we'd go, and then when I was getting ready to do my bar mitzvah, I remember we picked her up, my grandmother. We picked her up, and I was like, hey, are you going to come to my bar mitzvah? And she's like, no, like, I'm not, like, I have to go down to the river and play bridge. Not bridge, but play bingo. And I was like, what? Like, I'm like, what? And my mom was like, are you seriously, you're not going to come to like his bar mitzvah? And my grandmother was like, well, like Chris Charlie, he's only in town for 2 days. And I remember just saying, like, who the hell is Chris Charlie? Like, who the hell is this man that's super important? Well, come to find out, Chris Charlie was this guy who was just a really good like guitar player. He just played a bunch of like covers, and he had a beard, long hair. He talked at my mother's funeral, and he was like, Pauline was a good old lady. She was nice to everyone, but damn, she can be a bitch. And I'm like, what the like? I remember being a kid and like everyone just kind of laughed and chuckled, and it was like, this is not that was not funny to say. This, I don't think that's the right thing to say at a funeral. But yeah, I was actually honestly hoping that that story was going to last me a little bit longer, but it didn't. We have just about under 9 minutes left in this podcast, guys. Oh yeah, I got so another. I guess another work story. I was at work. Lol, I was at work. It's good setup for a joke, and this girl came up to me. She's like, "You know what? You know who you remind me of, or you know who I thought you looked like, and I just have never been able to put my finger on it." And I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What the hell?" She's like, "You look like Adam Driver." And I'm like, "No, I don't." I'm like, "Okay." I'm like Adam Driver. I'm like, "What the fuck?" I didn't know if she was joking or not, but and then she was like, "No, like I that's who it was." Like I was like, I kept on thinking, like, who does John remind me of? Who does he look like? And he was like, Adam Driver. Adam Driver. And it's like, all right. It's like, that's nope, I don't look like that at all. I don't think I do. And but yeah. I don't know. Well, guys, if you can't tell, I am bombing tonight. Yeah, entanglement. Are you guys doing it? Are you guys involved? Are you part of that right now? Do you have an entanglement? Do you want an entanglement? You should slide into my DMs. That, and talking about DMs, you do get DMs because of you have social medias, and you should follow me on my social medias at John D. Klauser. You know, I took a shot of like pre-workout before I did this podcast, and I was hoping that that was gonna like bust me through, but it's not. And what's gonna happen is like after I get done with doing this podcast, I'm gonna be wide awake and pretty jacked for the next couple hours. And the thing is, like, guys, I live on the studio. The studio is on the third floor of a mansion, right? And so the thing is, I had to turn the air conditioning off to do this podcast, so you don't hear a sound behind me the whole time. And when you do that, it gets hot up here really quick. It's about 78 degrees right now in here. And yeah. I really feel like I need it, like, you know, I hope you guys are doing good. Safe, sound. What's up? Do you like the game Would You Rather? Like, so I got a good one for you guys. Would you rather have to have a chef cook you like gourmet meals, like, you know, anything you want, but the thing is he can only cook with his feet because he has no hands? Or would you rather have like anybody of your choice? Like, so you can have like a supermodel, you can have like you can have Fabio, you can have anybody feed you, you know, your meals. But the thing is, they have to baby bird you those meals. And so, like, if you don't know what baby birding is, like, it's basically they put the food in their mouth, chew it up, and then like just spit it into your mouth. Which one would you rather do? Now, for me, the thing is, like, with the chef that cooks with his feet, you know, they wash his feet every time, like everything like that. They have like special gloves for it, like, you know, the same thing like with hands. But the thing is, like, you can only cook with your feet. It was so funny about talking about. I just saw a video, and it had all these people that had all these disabilities. So like these people with missing arms, people are missing limbs, like, and they had like the little claws, and they were putting their mask on, and they had like a blind person. Then they had someone who was deaf. They had someone who was mute, which might be almost the same thing. It's not the same thing, but almost close to it. And actually, John, it's not the same thing at all, you dumb asshole. But anyway, and they're like, it's not hard for us to put our mask on, so it shouldn't be hard for you. And I was watching it, and it felt a little exploitative. I think I was right. to people with disabilities. It was really odd. It was kind of weird. But the funny thing is, the only person who got like their mask on straight was the blind person. Shock, right? Like it probably wouldn't be if you put money on it, it was like a Vegas bet. I guarantee, and I told you that there was going to be someone who's blind, someone who has no feet or no like arms and no hands, so they have to use their feet to put their mask on their face. Someone who is deaf, someone who has like little like clippers for hands. Like you would assume that there's a lot of other choices other than the person who's blind that would get their mask on completely straight. It was interesting. And who came in second place? You probably wouldn't. I don't know if you're gonna believe this one either. The person with the feet, second place, pretty damn fucking great. The only thing that was wrong, it was just like slightly. If we're gonna be like strictly on, if we're gonna go by Olympic rules, it was slightly smudged over to the left, just slightly. But oh my damn girl, you did good. It was. She did good. She did real good. This is where my podcast has been, guys. If you guys are here, I hope you guys are doing well. I'm losing my voice, if you guys can't tell. It hurts really bad right now. And I'm like trying to be smooth and quiet and like a little bit more silky because it's nighttime, so I don't want to be super loud. And I want to like, I'm like, yeah, just like I might have a lot of like anxiety right now, but I want to like excrete chillness. And I have no anxiety, to tell you the truth, guys. I have none at all. Like I'm bombing on this. But besides that, like I'm only going to be bombing for another like 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And then once I'm done with that, like I'm done for the week on doing this thing. And so I can go off and bomb on other things. What's so great is making like saying something that's like completely like awkward in front of a group of people. It's one of the funniest things to do ever. Why do I sound like I'm 15 years old? Like I said, we only have 2 more minutes left in this. 2 minutes and like less than 10 seconds. Like less than 10 seconds would be like 2 minutes and like 5 seconds. Something like that. Are you guys doing great? Are you guys coughing? Do you guys smoke pot? Do you guys come here often? Because if you guys come here often, what you should do is you should give this like video a thumbs up, even though this was a pretty dog shit video. I'm not gonna lie to you. What's so great is like once I get this done, I'm gonna play some Madden. I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, Sunday. I have to do all my laundry. I have to do all my cooking for the week, and edit this video. It's like the trifecta of like cool stuff that I get to do tomorrow. And how's this video? It's pretty lit. Well, it's lit nice, isn't it? But yeah. I want to say I've done this. This is episode 21. Chris Farley. But yeah, hope you guys doing great, doing good. I'm kind of slowly just kind of easing myself out of it. I have about a minute left. If you guys gotten this far, I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. We're here, we did it, and give this video a thumbs up. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Bye.